Valerie Calhoun slid the unsigned marriage license across the clerk's desk and tapped the blank line like she was tapping my forehead. "No house in Megan's name, no wedding," Valerie said. "And after what this family already tolerated from you, Silas Harlow, do not embarrass us by acting broke in public." Megan stood beside her mother with her arms crossed, pretty, cold, and bored. 2 years of my overtime had bought her that bored look. 2 years of birthday dinners, emergency bills, rides, apologies, and the $100,000 wire Tyler Calhoun swore he would repay after 1 bad month. Now Valerie wanted a house, Tyler's remaining debt covered, and financial guarantees before Megan would even sign the license. Megan finally looked at me. "You said you loved me. Prove it!" My phone buzzed before I could answer. The screen went black. Then bright gold letters crawled across it. Infinite Wealth System binding complete. Host, Silas Harlow. Starting spending limit, $50 million. Task, buy the property used to humiliate you. He knows he can't afford you. Something snapped clean inside me. I picked up the marriage license, tore it once, and dropped both halves onto the clerk's desk. Megan gasped. Valerie's mouth opened before her anger found words. I said, "Wedding's off. You wanted a house so badly, I'll go buy one without you." Megan grabbed my sleeve. "Silas, don't be dramatic." I looked at her hand until she let go. "Dramatic was asking a line worker to fund your whole bloodline," I said. "This is me being polite." I walked out before Valerie could turn family shame into another bill. My phone kept buzzing as I drove. Megan called twice. Valerie sent 3 messages in all caps. Tyler sent 1 sentence. "Do not mess up my debt plan." That one made me laugh out loud at a red light. Their panic finally had a sound I could use, and mine had gone quiet. Inside the showroom, Nina Carver froze behind the front desk. Nina had been Megan's friend before Megan decided she only kept friends who made her look richer. Then I pointed at the largest framed rendering on the wall. "What's that one?" Nina followed my finger. "The lakefront mansion. 8 bedrooms, private dock, guest wing, security gate inside the gate. It is not really. Add it." She blinked. "Add it to what?" "The smaller house. I'm buying both. Full payment. Today." A sales assistant near the coffee machine coughed into her cup. Nina did not move for 3 seconds. Then her training beat her disbelief. She turned the screen toward me, hands suddenly fast. "Silas, total purchase price is over $9 million before closing costs. I need to be clear, because once I submit the payment," I set the black card on the desk. "Submit it." Nina's finger hovered over the keyboard. Nina asked the question every agent had to ask. "Whose name should I prepare for the offers?" "Mine," I said. Her eyes flicked down to my bare left hand, then to the card again. "Only yours! Only mine! If anyone from the Calhoun family asks, spell it slowly." The terminal blinked once. Twice. The sales assistant stopped pretending to make coffee. The printer behind Nina woke up and began spitting paper like it had been insulted too. Nina read the screen, and the color left her face for a different reason. "Payment accepted," she said. "Full amount confirmed. Both properties." Trevor's laugh broke in half. Megan stared at the screen. "That is impossible." I turned to Trevor. "You still sign my overtime slips?" He opened his mouth. I said, "Good, keep the pen warm." Megan stepped toward me. "Silas, if you bought our house." "No," I said. "I bought my house, and my other house. You are not on either deed." Nina slid the first folder across the desk. Her voice steadied as she spoke to me, not to Megan. "Congratulations, Silas. Lakeview Estates will prepare both key sets." That was the moment Megan realized the house had not been the prize. Control had been, and she had just lost both. The showroom door opened hard enough to hit the stopper, her future in his pocket. Valerie pointed one manicured finger at my chest. "Put Megan on that deed by tonight," she said, loud enough for the whole showroom to hear, "or I will make sure every person in Lakemont knows you used my daughter for 2 years and threw her away." Tyler smirked behind her. "And don't forget what you owe this family." A new line pulsed at the edge of my phone screen. "Prior transfer detected. Tyler Calhoun, $100,000. I looked from Tyler's smirk to Valerie's finger and smiled. Phone warmed in my palm. Recover. Losses activated. Authorized tool, debt mirror. The system showed me one clean choice. Reclaim the prior transfer Tyler Calhoun had taken under family obligation and false repayment promise. I pressed confirm. Tyler's phone screened first. He checked the screen and went pale so fast even Valerie turned. "What did you do?" Tyler said. "Recovered a loan," I said. "You remember loans. They are the things you call family help when I pay them and emergencies when I ask for them back." Tyler shoved his card toward Nina's desk as if plastic could defend him. "Run something. Anything. This is a bank glitch." Nina did not move until he snapped, "Do it!" She took the card, charged the bottled water he had grabbed from the display cooler, and the terminal declined him for $3.19. A laugh slipped out near the coffee machine. Someone tried to choke it down and failed. Everett's eyes sharpened. Blue Ridge Components is quietly for sale. Trevor Baines thinks he is the biggest man on that floor. I am tired of watching little managers act like kings over tired people. Everett had just put Trevor's name on my next purchase. I said, "Send me the price." Everett smiled. "You don't want a tour?" "I worked there," I said. "I know exactly what I am buying." Everett Dorsey's price for Blue Ridge Components sat on the screen. Trevor still thought I would clock in under him on Monday. I looked at the number and pressed accept. Trevor spotted me near the owner's table and smiled like I had walked into a trap he personally built. Megan stood beside him. Valerie and Tyler hovered near the buffet, already comfortable, already acting like my factory purchase would somehow still feed them. Trevor crossed the room and hooked one finger under the badge on my chest. "Look at this," Trevor said loudly. "A line worker got lost near the owner's seats. A few people turned." That was all Trevor needed. He pulled the badge out where everyone could see it. "Silas Harlow, assembly floor, hourly. This man does not belong at this table." Everett Dorsey stepped onto the small platform at the front before any guard moved. He held one folder, not a stack. That was how I liked it. The fewer papers people saw, the faster power hit them in the face. Everett tapped the microphone. "Blue Ridge Components has changed ownership," he said. "Effective today, the controlling owner is Silas Harlow." The room did not explode. It recalculated. A woman from the assembly floor covered her mouth with both hands. One shift lead looked from Trevor to me and took a very careful step away from Trevor. The office staff stared at the badge like it had turned poisonous. Trevor laughed once, too loud. "No," he said. "That is not funny. Everett, tell them." Everett looked at him. "I just did." Trevor turned on me. "You cannot own this company. You do not know how to run anything." "I know how it feels when a manager denies overtime pay and calls it attitude," I said. "I know which workers keep production alive while people in clean shirts steal credit. That is enough for today." Megan's face changed at the word owner. Valerie's changed at the word company. Tyler's changed when he realized old vendor favors had a new throat to choke them. Trevor tried to recover by becoming official. "There are policies. There is a chain of command. You cannot just walk in and fire." "Trevor Baines," I said, loud enough for the workers in the back, "you are fired." That landed better than the mansion. Trevor's mouth stayed open. No sound came out. I took the badge off my chest and placed it in his hand. "You wanted proof I worked here," I said. "Keep it as proof you do not." I walked to the platform and took the microphone from Everett. "Nina Carver will serve as interim president during the transition," I said. "The professional operations team reports through her. Any manager who thinks that is funny can test how fast my signature works." Nina's head turned toward me. Surprise hit her first. Fear came second. Then she looked at the workers, and the fear sharpened into responsibility. "I will start with payroll," Nina said, clearly enough for the room, "and overtime." The workers answered her with the kind of noise Trevor had never heard because nobody cheers a leash. Blue Ridge Components secured. Spending limit increased. $100 million. Capital footprint unlocked. Established presence in New York City. Before the applause fully died, another call came through from a number I did not know. I answered on speaker because by then I enjoyed bad timing. A woman's calm voice filled the banquet room. "Mr. Harlow, this is Audrey Sinclair from the Langford Hotel. Your New York City suite is confirmed, and the fleet will meet you on arrival." The line workers went quiet for a different reason. Trevor had tried to use a plastic badge to put me back on the floor. The system answered with $100 million and New York City waiting at the curb. Dorian Whitaker was already sitting at it. He was younger than I expected, polished in the expensive way that came from never checking a price tag. Two men stood behind him. A folder lay on the table in front of a young woman with tired eyes and a clenched jaw. Around them, performers pretended not to watch. That was the ugliest part. Dorian did not need chains. He had built a room where everyone understood the price of saying no. Audrey leaned close. Dorian Whitaker. Younger heir, reckless, loud, and used to rooms rearranging for him. The woman with the folder looked up when I reached the table. Dorian did not. "Wrong table," he said. "Staff can find you a corner." I sat across from him. The manager stopped breathing. Dorian finally looked at me. "Do you know who I am?" "The man in my seat," I said. "Buying a room does not make you a man," he said. "Stand up. If you can move my hand, I will leave your little table. If you cannot, Mia signs and you crawl back to your hotel." My phone pulsed again. Bear strength activated. Duration, 10 minutes. I offered my hand. Dorian laughed and took it. He started with a showman's smile, then his wrist stopped moving, then his face reddened, then the tendons in his neck stood out like cables. I did not slam his hand down right away. I let the room watch him spend every ounce of borrowed confidence. Then I pressed his knuckles into the table hard enough to crack the ice in his glass. "You picked my room," I said. "Then you bet your hand. Bad habit." Dorian yanked back, breathing through his teeth. I turned to the manager. Every talent contract signed under pressure tonight is void inside this venue. Refund deposits. Escort Mia out under protection. Anyone who tries to stop her loses access to the building before they finish the sentence. A performer near the back covered her mouth. Another one grabbed his unsigned folder off a table and held it to his chest like it had almost bitten him. Dorian had wanted Mia as an example. I gave the whole room a different one. Mia stood slowly, like her knees had to relearn freedom. She looked at me. Why help me? Because I know what it looks like when someone prices your future in front of an audience, I said. Go. Audrey guided her toward the exit with 2 staff members clearing the path. Dorian's jaw tightened. He snapped the velvet folder shut. Enough! I do not need theater. I have backing. From your family? I asked. Dorian smiled again, relieved to return to the part of the game where his last name did the lifting. Asterline Holdings underwrites my bid, he said. Credit line, restoration arm, client network, the whole machine. You bought a club. I brought an engine. My screen flickered. High-value control point detected. Asterline Holdings. Available tool. Company acquisition card. The system did not give speeches. It knew I hated waiting. I selected the card. A black and gold prompt opened. Acquire target company? Dorian raced his paddle before the auctioneer even finished the opening terms. I pressed confirm. The auctioneer paused to confirm the line. A staff member at the side table answered a call, looked at the screen, and went pale. Dorian noticed. What now? The auctioneer lowered the tablet. Mr. Whitaker, your Asterline authorization has been withdrawn. Dorian laughed. Impossible. He pulled out his phone, tapped once, and waited for some loyal machine to fix his public embarrassment. No machine answered. The staff members swallowed. Asterline Holdings has a new controlling owner. All Whitaker discretionary backing is suspended pending review. The word review was the polite part. The room heard the real sentence anyway. His family money had vanished mid-bid. Dorian tried one more time because pride loves bad math. Use my personal guarantee, he said. The auctioneer checked the tablet again. The bid requires verified funds today. That was a soft voice saying no to a Whitaker. It landed like a slap. Dorian turned to me very slowly. I lifted my paddle. 31 million, I said. Cash. No family infrastructure required. The auctioneer did not hesitate again. Caraway House sold to me with one clean strike of the gavel. Instead, the door opened and answered why. A server entered with a silver tray of coffee nobody had ordered. She was calm, pale, and graceful enough that half the room treated her like staff before she crossed the carpet. My X-ray scan lit across her body. Name, Talia Frost. Affiliation, The Spire. Threat level, lethal. Contract target, Silas Harlow. She set the tray down beside me. The fired executive smirked like he had remembered how to breathe. Talia's hand moved under the tray. The blade came out flat and fast. Audrey shouted my name. I did not dodge. The knife struck my ribs and folded like cheap metal against a vault door. Talia's eyes changed. Calculation first. The second strike bounced off my throat and the calculation broke. I caught her wrist before the third. How much? I asked. Talia's voice was quiet. Enough. Bad answer. If you were paid enough, your hand would not be shaking. Her eyes flicked down despite herself. I said, $500 million, clean protector contract. Your work points at me from now on, not through back rooms and spoiled heirs. One of the fired executives whispered, You cannot buy the Spire. I looked at him. I was not talking to you. You are unemployed background noise. Talia stared at me. The Spire kills broken contracts. Then let them come collect from the man they failed to kill. Her eyes moved past my money and checked my body, the bent blade, the quiet staff, Audrey still standing behind me, and the fired executives watching their last hidden weapon become another negotiation. Talia did not kneel right away. Good. Instant loyalty was cheap. The pause made the choice feel costly, which was why I trusted it more. She glanced toward the elevators, then toward the staff, then toward Audrey, who had not run even after the blade came out. You would put that in writing? Talia asked. I would put it in money, I said. Writing is what people use when they cannot afford trust. Talia lowered herself to one knee. Principal contract accepted, she said. Until the debt is cleared, my blade protects Silas Harlow. Dorian's smile faded by 1 inch. Talia reached behind me, sliced the restraint, and stepped to my right side. Sir, she said. The word landed harder than any punch could have. Dorian stared at the cut restraints in my lap. His eyes went to Talia's blade, then to the cash, then back to my hands as I rubbed, feeling into my wrists. No, he said. No, 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 no. Talia's voice stayed flat. You rented a blade. He bought the future holding it. I stood. Dorian backed up before pride remembered to drag him forward again. You cannot buy the Spire, he snapped. I did not need to, I said. I bought the person standing between you and me. That was enough for today. The screen showed an unknown number, then a video opened without me touching it. Nina Carver sat tied to a chair under a hanging warehouse light. Her lip was split. Behind her, I recognized the old storage floor at Blue Ridge Components. Megan Calhoun stepped into frame with Tyler on one side and Trevor Baines on the other. Megan held up a cheap black card in a gloved hand, like the color alone could summon mine. "Come alone, Silas," Megan said. "No assassin, no Audrey, no police. Bring the real card. If you ever cared about Nina, prove it before she pays for stealing my life." Audrey turned toward me. Talia's hand went to her blade. The old script had found one more hostage. Before I crossed the last block, I burned one emergency draw and told the system the obvious part. Megan would use the cheapest trap that still let her watch me suffer. The system pulsed once against my palm. Emergency draw complete. Poison, immunity equipped. Damage, reflection equipped. Good. Then I walked in alone. Megan pointed at the table. "2 glasses," she said. "Drink one, and I let Nina go after you sign. Refuse, and Trevor starts with her fingers." Tyler laughed. "Romantic, right? Like a toast before the second chance." My X-ray scan opened over the glasses. Glass 1, sedative compound, cardiac stress agent. Glass 2, sedative compound, cardiac stress agent. Both, of course both. Megan watched my eyes move from one glass to the other, and for a second I saw satisfaction bloom on her face. Everything in her smile said she thought I had found the trap too late. "Choose," she said. I picked up the first glass. Nina pulled against the rope. "Silas, don't!" I drank it. Megan's lips parted. Then I picked up the second glass and drank that one too. The warehouse went quiet enough for the light chain to creak above Nina's head. Tyler whispered, "What are you doing? I set both glasses down." "Tasting your budget," I said. "Cheap." Megan stared at my face, waiting for fear, pain, collapse, anything she could recognize from the man she used to control. Nothing happened. The system pulsed once. Poison neutralized. I wiped my mouth with my thumb. "You should have bought better poison," I said. "Or cheaper enemies. These look refundable." Cut Nina's ropes myself. Her hands shook once they were free. She tried to stand too quickly, and I caught her elbow. "I am sorry," I said. Nina looked at the glasses, then at Trevor on the floor, then at Megan being held by Talia. "Don't be," Nina said. "She wanted me to regret taking your side. I don't." Megan heard Nina choose me with blood on her lip. Megan heard it and started crying, but even her tears came out angry. "Silas," she said, "I was desperate. Mom said everyone in Lakemont was laughing at me. Tyler said you owed us. Trevor said if we scared you enough, you would remember who you were." Trevor groaned from the floor. "Do not put this on me," Tyler shouted. "We were all supposed to get paid." Tyler's shout translated their whole family love story. I picked up my black card from Tyler's frozen hand. Megan reached for my sleeve the way she had reached at the clerk's office the day everything started. "Please," she whispered, "for old times." I looked at the poisoned glasses, at Nina's split lip, at Trevor curled around his own reflected pain, at Tyler still angry that kidnapping had not become a payday. "Old times were the disease," I said. "Today was the cure." Nina saw the screen before I could hide it. Her face changed. "Valerie has been calling people," Nina said. "She told half the town you scammed Megan, framed Trevor, and bought fake loyalty with dirty money. My grandfather's birthday banquet is tomorrow. Henry Carver invited everyone." I helped her toward the door. Outside, the night air felt too clean for that warehouse. Nina looked back at me. "Sonia Pierce will be there. Her son Bryce just came back with an overseas medical degree, and she has been telling people I should choose a respectable man before you ruin me too." The system pulsed one more time. Reputation mission opened. Return to Lakemont. Megan's trap had failed. Now the whole town wanted its turn. Valerie Calhoun's version of my life reached Henry Carver's birthday banquet before I did. By the time my G-Class SUV turned into the community hall lot in Lakemont, Ohio, half the town had already heard that I had dumped Megan, stolen a factory, corrupted Nina Carver, and hired criminals to make honest people look bad. Valerie had done what she always did when she lost control of one room. She ran to a bigger one and cried family values over the damage she caused. That was almost flattering. Poor Silas had been harmless. Rich Silas required a conspiracy. Henry tried to stand. "Bryce," Henry said, voice rough, "do not use me to corner my granddaughter." Then his hand went to his chest. The hall changed faster than any rumor. Mina screamed his name. Chairs scraped back. Bryce froze for one priceless second, all degree and no action. Then he turned the moment into a stage. "Everyone move," Bryce said. "Nina, if you trust me, say it. I need authority to treat him." I shoved past him. He grabbed my arm. "You are not a doctor. And you are not a good one," I said. "Move before your degree becomes a witness." The rejuvenation talisman appeared against my palm, thin as paper, warm as a living pulse. No lecture, no miracle speech. Henry needed help, and Bryce had turned breath into a bargaining chip. I pressed the talisman against Henry's chest. Gold light ran once under my fingers and vanished. Henry inhaled. Then he inhaled again, deeper, angry enough to be alive. Nina dropped to her knees beside him. "Grandpa?" Henry blinked at her, then looked at me. "Silas," he rasped, "you still buying food for the wrong people?" The hall broke into relief. People laughed, cried, moved chairs, crowded close, then stepped back because the scandal Valerie sold them had just breathed in front of them. Bryce stood frozen with his useless gift receipt crushed in one fist. Sonia whispered, "This cannot be real." Henry heard her. The old man lifted one shaking finger toward Bryce. "Real enough to know your boy tried to trade my breath for my granddaughter. Sit down, Sonia. You raised a resume with shoes. That one did more damage than my car." Mayor Harriet Bloom stood near the side of the hall with a microphone she had probably planned to use for a birthday toast. Instead, she looked at me, then at Henry, and changed the whole room. "Since everyone is already listening," Mayor Harriet Bloom said, "Lakemont should know that Silas Harlow has funded the Maple County Development Fund with $2 billion, road repairs, clinic upgrades, factory worker retraining, senior support, and small business grants will begin under that commitment." The number did not sound real at first. $2 billion was too large for gossip to swallow. Then phones came out. People checked, whispered, stared, checked again. The town did what every crowd did when money became too big to mock. It recalculated. A retired worker near the back raised his cup. "To Silas Harlow, Lakemont's golden son." The phrase moved table to table before Sonia could kill it. Nina looked at me with tears on her face and a smile she did not try to hide. Henry squeezed my wrist. "About time this town remembered you right," he said. My phone pulsed. "Reputation mission complete. Spending limit increased. $800 billion. The old hall erupted around me, but Audrey's phone rang in the middle of it. Mia Sloan was crying on the other end. "Silas," Mia said, voice shaking. "Monarch Studios just blacklisted me. They said no one connected to you works in this industry without Whitaker permission." I looked from the cheering town to Audrey's hard expression. Lakemont had finally stopped laughing. New York City had not. Sebastian Whitaker stepped out from beside a framed poster, older than Dorian, sharper and much quieter. He did not wear rage the way his brother did. He wore manners over a knife. "That was expensive for a supporting actress," Sebastian said. Mia stiffened. I looked at him. "You must be the brother who learned volume is taxable." Sebastian smiled without warmth. "Dorian breaks toys. I remove supply lines, studios, restaurants, creditors, donors, family tables. You can buy a door, Mr. Harlow. I decide how many doors become walls." Audrey's tablet chimed in her hand. Her face changed by a fraction. That was all Sebastian wanted. He had thrown the knife at her, not me. He looked at Audrey. "Your parents still prefer quiet solutions. Gilded Row, tonight. Bring him if he wants to keep pretending he can protect every person he collects." Sebastian saw the glow, though not the words. He set a sealed Whitaker Group envelope beside my plate. "Tomorrow," he said, "Asterline Holdings, Martin Pell will attend on my grandfather's behalf. A peace toast if you are still brave after dessert." Audrey looked at the envelope, then at me. I should have paid more attention to the word toast. Sebastian had lost a studio and a restaurant in one day. Men like him did not send invitations empty-handed. He handed the glass to Martin. I saw the rim touch Martin's mouth before my X-ray scan finished lighting. "Toxin detected, fast-acting cardiac disruptor, antidote required." Martin swallowed once. His eyes widened. The glass fell and shattered across the floor. Audrey reached for him, but Martin was already dropping. I caught his shoulder before his head struck the table. Dorian went pale. It looked like even he had not expected this version of cruelty. Sebastian did not move. He looked at me over Martin's collapsing body. "Kneel, Silas Harlow. Say you will surrender Asterline Holdings, Monarch Studios, Gilded Row, and the Obsidian Room to Whitaker supervision. Then Mr. Pell receives the antidote." "Good," I said. "Understand this. I activated pain simulation. At first, nothing happened." Sebastian's smile held. Then his knees hit the carpet. He did not fall like Dorian. He fought it. His jaw locked, his hands clawed at the table edge, and the veins in his neck rose as if invisible wire had wrapped around every nerve in his body. Dorian stepped back. "Sebastian!" Sebastian tried to speak. A strangled sound came out. I crouched beside Martin and kept my eyes on Sebastian. "Antidote," I said. Sebastian shook his head once, sweat already running down his temple. I let the pain climb. He lasted 8 seconds longer than I expected, which was almost admirable and completely useless. "Inside pocket," he gasped. "Left side. Stop it, stop it, Talia." Crossed the room, took the vial from Sebastian's jacket, and handed it to Audrey. Audrey forced it into Martin's mouth with hands steady enough to shame the whole Whittaker bloodline. Martin coughed. Then he breathed. Only after that did I release the pain. My system screen turned black, then a single gold object appeared across it. Secret authority challenge detected. Reward issued. Spire signet. Cold weight closed around my right ring finger. The signet was dark metal, almost plain, until I lifted my hand. Then the room's light caught the mark carved into it, and both elders stopped breathing at the same time. The older elder dropped first. One knee hit the conference room floor, then the second followed. "Rightful master of the spire," the first elder said, voice low. "Command us." Martin took a second envelope from his coat and handed it to me with both hands. "Heavenly Harbor Banquet," he said. "Reginald Whittaker requests your presence. He is putting judgment on the table. The Whittaker group is collapsing, and the old man wants to see who can save an empire his bloodline has spent like pocket change." My phone pulsed. Secret authority pressure cleared. Spending limit increased. $5 trillion. Reginald Whittaker sat at the center table in a high-backed chair. He was older than his portraits, thinner than his name, and far less asleep than his grandsons wanted him to be. He looked at me once. "Silas Harlow," Reginald said, "you have purchased several problems that used to belong to my family. Your grandsons kept leaving them unattended," I said. A dangerous ripple moved through the room. No one laughed, but several guests suddenly looked allowed to consider it. Dorian slammed a hand on the table. "Grandfather, this is exactly what I mean. No breeding, no respect, no right to stand here." Reginald raised one hand, and Dorian shut up like childhood had reached across the years and grabbed his throat. Then Reginald coughed. Once. Twice. The third sound broke wrong. My X-ray scan lit before the nearest doctor finished saying procedure. "Airway obstruction. Immediate removal required." I moved. Sebastian stepped in my path. "Stay back!" I shoved him aside hard enough to make Felix Mar catch him. Reginald was clawing at the tablecloth when I reached him. I followed the scan, cleared the obstruction, and let him drag one ragged breath back into his body. The room heard it. That mattered more than applause. Reginald gripped my wrist with surprising strength. "My medical team argued," he rasped. "You acted!" Sebastian's face tightened. Dorian looked angry that his grandfather had survived with the wrong man's hands near him. Reginald pushed away the doctors and stood with Martin Pell's help. "Since we are done pretending bloodline guarantees competence," Reginald said, voice rough but carrying, "I will say the ugly part aloud. Whittaker Group is collapsing. My grandsons hid losses, burned credit, poisoned trust, and mistook inheritance for intelligence. Tonight decides who can keep the name alive." "No," I said. "It is supposed to embarrass your binder." I opened it. Certificates, ownership authorities, executive credentials, emergency certifications, and control records stacked out of the box thick enough to make Felix's leather binder look like a napkin. I did not read them aloud. The top sheets had already done enough. My name sat where Sebastian had expected empty space. Felix looked from the stack to his own binder. His face said he had expected a resume contest and walked into an execution. Sebastian recovered first. "Paper can be bought, leadership cannot." "Finally," I said, "a useful sentence." I turned to Audrey. She stepped forward with no script in her hand. "Asterline Holdings was bleeding clients because Whittaker heirs used it as an errand service," Audrey said. "Silas cut the rot. Staff stayed because he paid them and trusted them. Clients stayed because fear stopped making decisions." Mina followed. "Blue Ridge Components had workers waiting to be discarded. Silas canceled layoffs, paid stolen overtime, and made production people proud to wear the badge again." Mia lifted her chin. "Monarch Studios told me talent needed Whittaker permission. Silas bought the room, fired the coward, and gave the role back to the audition that earned it." Talia spoke last. "The Spire was paid to kill him. It now protects him. He survived my blade, then offered a future cleaner than the contract." Then the ballroom screens changed. Numbers bled red across Whittaker Group's public board. Credit warnings. Partner withdrawals. Panic dressed in finance language, Sebastian grabbed for the one subject he still thought belonged to him. "This is why we need Felix. His backers can stabilize the open market by morning." Reginald looked at me. "And you?" I looked at the screens, then at the grandsons who had spent their inheritance trying to break the people now standing beside me. I did not bid against them. I bought around them. My black card hit the table. The system opened one final acquisition screen. Target, Whittaker Group. Control available now. Price clears under current limit. Confirm acquisition? I pressed confirm. The ballroom screens froze. For 3 seconds, no one breathed loudly enough to be rude. Then red turned gold. Controlling interest transferred, Silas Harlow. Whittaker Group stabilized. Felix Mar closed his binder. Dorian sat down without meaning to. Sebastian stared at the screen like it had shot him more cleanly than the pistol ever could. Reginald laughed once, rough and dangerous. "Martin told me this began with a house," he said. Megan Calhoun wanted one in her name, did she not? Just like that, the first insult reached the final table. She did, I said. Reginald nodded toward the screen. Then take the empire in yours. It appears my family needed a man who understood what a name costs. He turned to the room. Dorian Whitaker and Sebastian Whitaker are strict of family protection, executive access, and inheritance authority. Martin Pell will deliver their records to the authorities waiting outside. Silas Harlow holds controlling power in Whitaker Group as of tonight. Dorian lunged to his feet. Grandfather! Reginald did not look at him. You made me choose between blood and survival. Blame your mirror. The family's own security moved in. Dorian saw the Whitaker crest on their cuffs first. Sebastian saw it next. My phone lit so brightly the black card beside it looked dull. Life winner mission complete. Whitaker Group acquired. Unlimited funds unlocked. For a second I expected thunder. Fireworks. Some ridiculous gold storm worthy of everything the system had done to my life. Instead, one quiet line appeared beneath the reward. Final mission. Cherish the one in front of you. The banquet still roared around me. Dorian shouted. Sebastian cursed. Cameras turned. Martin Pell began giving orders. Reginald sat down as if surrendering an empire had finally let him rest. Mina was smiling through tears. Mia hugged her audition pages against her chest like proof that she had survived the worst room. Talia stood at my shoulder, still as a blade that had chosen a sheath. Audrey stepped in front of me, where everyone could see the choice before I made it. She had walked through blackmail, debt, family fear, poison, hostages, and the kind of status games that taught people to apologize for needing help. She had not asked to be bought, she had asked to be free enough to choose. I took her hand. Audrey looked at the system glow, then at me. Is this another reward?